Now, the majority of all the things that Thomas Sowell he's sitting here saying is an absolute lie. As I look through the courses of history, as in invasions and wars and territories being gained and conquered, when two armies or two lands fought each other, they consumed the other land. They either annihilated all the people that were there, took all they really pillaged and plundered those people. You know what I'm saying? And in the process of them taking over the land, when all the men went into the war and they slaughtered them by the sword, they killed all the women and the children. So the only thing that was left over was the land and product and cow and ox and gold and silver. So when people sit there and they say when you say slavery, buying a person, you know what I'm saying? Buying a person, you're talking about a single individual. You're not talking about a collective group of people. You're not talking about a race of people. You're not talking about people with an ethnic identity. You're not talking about that. You're talking about prisoners of war who was captured in some war that was fought. And it was only so many different people left over after that, and those same people were slaughtered by the edge of the sword. So when they lie and they put fabrications into history, I don't understand it. But he is completely right about this one thing. I can't even find one, you know what I'm saying? Because it all seems like lies to me. I don't know any group. Like, let's go back. Let's go back. And when the Japanese and the Asians were fighting and having their wars, those wars went on for hundreds of years. And even though it went into modern time, into like the 1950s, you still didn't have a thing of slavery. So, how can somebody say that everybody in the world at one part have seen slavery? That's just an absolute lie. When you look at it, and when I listen to Sambos like Thomas Sowell, he just tell white people the things that they want to hear so they can more harden their heart into their own prejudice of doing the right thing. So was slavery something that was practiced throughout the whole world? You can't say that, because when one army fought another army, they killed that other army and took the spoils of war. They didn't take a group of people and then enslave them and then breed them to be something else than what they were for hundreds of years. You ain't never seen nothing like that. So people like Thomas Sowell, he do a disservice to history and facts and things that happen in history. I don't see it. Now, far as in what he said about our people were never slaves. And you might be like, whoa, 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 Jehoshaphat, that's too much. That's too hard. You know what I'm saying? You're saying too much this morning time. My people was never slaves. My people were property. Slaves and property are two different things. You know what I'm saying? Slavery and property is two different things. What is property? What would be the definition of property back in 1776? Let's go back into the old books and see what it say. Okay, in a legal system that supported chattel slavery, enslaved people were treated as personal property, similar to livestock and cattle, with owners having the right to buy, sell, or inherit them. The legal status meant enslaved people were denied basic human rights and freedom, including the right to own or enter into marriage. So the three fifths of a human being, that's what my people were. My people were property. Don't get me wrong, we came over here as slaves. We were slaves. But when you start breeding a people, we start breeding. Remember, slavery was outlawed, and America couldn't ship in black people in this country, so they just started breeding them. That's what they did to us. That's how the whole ethnogenesis started in the first place, with our blood being mixed. But look, we're here, what we say. I'm only here today to make white folks understand that what happened to my people is a debt. I don't understand why white people don't understand what a debt is, what debt collection is, what a debt is. They really act like, oh well, paying reparations. It's the fact that white people don't want to change. This is what this all wraps up on. They know with the United States government paying, and it will happen. The United States paying reparations to so-called black people, the descendants of slaves, will change the way that they are internally as a group, and they don't want to change. They've been fighting on all a racist behavior, everything that they make them as a people, because you would have to be really bullheaded to think that a debt that was owed in the past is because of something that you did, and then flip it. The debt itself is not on white people, it's on the United States government. You know what I'm saying? How okay, it's a debt that's owed, but white people, they take it in this country as if they gotta pay. They gotta pay if they're guilty. If you're guilty of this, you would feel some type of way. That's why we get the pushback from white people, because they are guilty. You know what I'm saying? Because the debt has not been paid. So here in this sit down today with your brother Jehoshaphat Israel, I'm just gonna bring to light. I'm gonna illuminate some facts that need to be said to why do regular people feel as if they have to pay this debt when it's our government that owes that has to pay the debt. It's not on the American people. Because I always hear this dumbass rebuttal when they sit up there and say, how can we pay money? How can we pay money to people who weren't slaves, and we're the people and we never enslaved? They say something to that rhetoric. We never owned slaves. Why would we pay money to somebody who was never a slave? But a debt is a debt. A debt that's going to be paid. You know what I'm saying? Just because it wasn't paid back then doesn't mean it's not going to be paid now. They're right. They should have had paid it to our people so long ago, but they did not. They kept on fighting them, fighting them, and fighting them, and denying them, to where we're 159 years removed from the first engagement of the fight, the initiation of black folk in this country, bringing to the forefront of our people, saying that it's a debt that needs to be paid, and this country wouldn't be half of what it is if it wasn't for our grandparents. I hate when they use words like ancestors. My ancestors was over in Africa 1,000 years ago. That's what an ancestor is. Your grandparents that was in the 1600s, your great great grandparents that lived in the 1700s, your great great grandparents that lived in the 1800s. Those are our grandparents. That ain't no damn ancestor. You would have to bring somebody that lived 2,000 years ago to be my ancestor, not my grandparents. So I hate how they sit up there and they be like, oh, it's a long time ago and this and this. No, it's not. That's our grandparents. That's our great great grandparents. That's our great great grandparents. That's only like 4 or 5 generations of people. That's only a couple of hundreds of years. We're not talking about history that's been removed 2,000, 3,000, 4,000 years ago. We're talking about things that happened recently. But let's go ahead and get into this. So if I didn't bring out something, I know I'm going to let the people talk. You know, when the people talk, they're going to bring all the facts in it. So I'll just let the people talk. But I want the regular, common American person, white, Caucasian, Anglo-Saxon American, to understand. You know what I'm saying? This debt was way before you was even born. You know what I'm saying? Just because you're in the world, you're right. You never owned a slave, but you still gonna pay this damn debt. You right. I was never a slave, but they never gave my people the funds and the money that they were owed for the debt that needed to be paid. So guess what? I inherit y'all. I inherit that. My people, we're going to inherit that. Just like y'all inherit all the money that was made by my great grandparents. And it made your lives here in America greater, more better. Yeah, I'm gonna let the people talk. You know what I'm saying? Because y'all got them benefits. And if you don't love America, then you won't want to pay the debt. You know what I'm saying? If you don't love America, then you have the right to sit up there and say that we don't want to pay. But if you love America, you're going to shut your ass up. That's what you is going to do. And you're going to understand why America has to pay this debt.
Which is when Adam Smith published The Wealth of Nations, as well as when the United States got started. He said that Western Europe is the only place in the world where there is no slavery. And even the Western Europeans had vast numbers of slaves in the Western Hemisphere, but not in Western Europe itself. And so if you're going to have reparations for slavery, it's going to be the greatest transfer of wealth back and forth. Because the number of whites, for example, who were enslaved in North Africa by the Barbary pirates.
Do those people exist? On both sides. Those same people, you know what I'm saying, that he's sitting here talking about don't even exist. We're talking about things that's tangible, that's in the present, that's in the here and now. We're not talking about history 3,000, 4,000, 5,000 years ago. We're talking about things that happened recently. And this is how they try to be like little bloodhounds that throw you off the sniff. You know what I'm saying? So you can't pick up the scent to get to where everything is fact, not fiction. Okay, go ahead.
Exceeded the number of Africans enslaved in the United States and in the American colonies before that put together. But nobody is going to North Africa to ask for reparations because nobody is going to be fool enough to give it to them. Slavery has been a universal institution for thousands of years.
That's just a lie. That's just a plain lie. You know what I'm saying? That's just a plain out lie. Men that went into war. Let's just go back like 2,000 years ago when one kingdom conquered another kingdom. There was no slavery like that. And then, okay, when he talk about Europe and stuff, that's white people killing white people. That's white people fighting white people for land. That's white people fighting for white people for resources. So who would they get the money from? Their own people? White people enslaving other white people? What Thomas Sowell, it's like he's being dishonest when it comes to history. He's doing a disservice.
Famous piece in the Atlantic nearly a decade ago now called The Case for Reparations. And in the byline, he writes, quote, 250 years of slavery, 90 years of Jim Crow, 60 years of separate but equal, 35 years of racist housing policy. Until we reckon with our compounding moral debts, America will never be whole. End quote. And therein, Coates follows the history of a nation that cut an enormous number of Americans out of the home mortgage market, and that alone leads to incredible disparities for those who have lived for generations under white supremacy to endure disproportionately high poverty rates and lack of equal access.
Let's talk about something that never really happened here in America. And on this whole compilation is answering the question, why is reparations needed here in America? It's like people talk about race relations here in America, but then America, our people, black folk, so-called African Americans, they've been wounded by America. They've been attacked by America. They've been persecuted by America. They've been condemned by America. They've been dehumanized by America. They've been under subjugation by America. They've been in a silent but openly war with America. And those same wounds that's on the black man and on the black woman has never been healed or addressed. So when this German sits here and talk and he says the things that he say, I don't think nothing like that ever took place here in America, because the Anglo-Saxon Europeans, they don't feel any sympathy or regret on their history. You know what I'm saying? In fact, the white people in this country, they sitting here, y'all sitting over here trying to erase history. Y'all in a eraser. That's what y'all on right now. How can we erase history?
The world shocked beyond belief. These the barbaric work of the dying Nazi I'm originally from Germany, and I grew up there. The Holocaust was discussed in every single school subject, and I felt horrible about my history and ashamed of it. But then one day I met Nietzsche Langer, a survivor of 5 concentration camps and a death march in his youth. After he passed away, I learned from his widow that he had received a reparations pension since the 1970s, first from the West German government, then from the government of reunited Germany. It was a small pension. It measured no way up to the losses he had as a youngster. There is no money amount that could possibly represent those losses. When I came to the United States, I was drawn to that topic of reparations from my experience with Nietzsche. The procedure that I used to estimate reparations, I took census information about the enslaved population in each year from 1776 to 1860. I'm adding up all the hours, multiplying it with the wages customary at the time, and then adding a conservative 3% interest. I arrived at an outstanding debt of $20.3 trillion in 2021.
I remind you again, this is a German man. You know what I'm saying? This is a German man from Germany looking inside at America at the debt that it owes to the descendants of slaves. Now, if a white person that did a horrible atrocity overseas can come to this country and look at the history, things that were done to black people, and come up with the fact that, oh, America needs to pay reparations. Why don't you white people here in America know inside of yourself that you have to pay this debt? It's because you do not want to give up. You do not want to get rid of your racism, your bias, anything that would undermine black people. You don't want to get rid of that. You want to keep that going on into the far future. You don't want to change. This is why we say as black people, y'all sick. Because y'all see a harm that was done, and you see the pain and the suffering that it was caused, but you yourself as a collective group of people don't want to change internally. You want to hold on. That's why 80%, about like 77% of all white Americans in this country are opposed to reparations, because you yourself, you like your racism, you like your bigotry, you like your exclusions programs, you like your what is it called when you sit there and you put up things to take advantage of people. Y'all like all that stuff in this country. You like the state that you're in. You know what I'm saying? You like the state that you in. You like that, however, whatever you get from it. I heard yesterday that black people have some type of power over white people. I would consider that would be a lie. But the way that this country is set up and how it exploits and excludes black people all and on the same coin, y'all like that because you do not want to change your ways to put us in a place to where we'll be equal, because you don't think that as a group of people, you can sit up there and you can fight against us like that. You can compete. That's why, you know what I'm saying? If white people in this country could really think that they could compete with black people, if we had an equal playing field, y'all wouldn't be fighting against us. If you were better than us, if you were naturally smarter and naturally better than us, y'all would have paid off reparations and made us equal a long time ago. But y'all feel that y'all are in no competition if we on the same playing field. This is why you and your people feel some type of way over a debt that black folk been sitting up here telling the United States of America that it's owed for over 160 years. That's a long time, but change is coming.
We can see by the polls that support for reparations is over 70% among Black Americans A small but growing number of white Americans also believe that reparations are due to African Americans. And I think that's an important distinction. It's not a handout, it's a debt.
So that's the first thing. Now, when white people were given their inheritance, black people ain't never said nothing about nothing that y'all inherit. Any homes that y'all inherit, any wealth that y'all accumulate from y'all people, we don't say anything. But why do white people say stuff about the debt, the inheritance that is owed to our people? You know what I'm saying? That's a whole debt. It's our inheritance that we have never received out of all this time. But then when you think about white people and every single thing that they inherit, we as black people, we don't say nothing about it. So why do white people feel as if they can say something about the inheritance that my people are owed, but we don't say nothing about anything that y'all inherit, any homes, any money, any millions of dollars and diamonds and land. And we don't say anything about that because that's not our business. But our inheritance is ours. And you are all up in our business. This is why black people be saying y'all always in our business. This is why, you know what I'm saying? You feel some type of way. Black people, we don't feel any kind of way about anything that white people are owed. Anything that the banks give white people, anything that their grandparents leave behind, anything that their parents leave them behind, their great uncles and their great aunties, we don't say anything about it. But white people have so much to say about the legacy of the debt that's owed to us, to our people, that was never paid. And you seen what the Germans said. Even if America was to fall today and come back tomorrow and had the same name, they would still have to pay this money. That's what the German man said. You know what I'm saying? That's what he said.
The advocates for reparations explain in a heartbreaking way the systemic ways in which blacks and black families have been prevented and held back from building up the kind of generational wealth that many white Americans can expect. I think reparations ask us to imagine.
And the damn shame about it is that when other people from other groups of people come to America, they're not stifled and undermined by our government. They are allotted to do whatever. Don't get me wrong. I see they hard work. I see they grind and all of that. But they're not messed with our government. In fact, our government actually helps them, gives them little funds and gives them bank loans. The same things that black people are kept out of is given to other people. So I don't understand. You know what I'm saying? I don't understand. You know what I'm saying? I see the foreign people come over here. They work hard, but they get incentives for our government to build. That's why they have stuff. That's why they open up businesses and they're left alone. They're not undermined by our government. Example, RICO laws to shut black businesses down. It's certain. I don't want to say domestic. What is it called? Dominion. It's certain dominion things that our government does just to take out black neighborhoods, take out black businesses, take out black schools. You know what I'm saying? Whatever we build up, because we're still under war with our government. People that come from foreign countries are not under war with our government. Our government is not undermining these groups. They are letting them build. It's not been done for African Americans in this country.
Imagine what America could be like without that kind of discrimination as we begin to repair the legacy of that discrimination. Like, what could America look like?
That's why white folks are scared, because of what the woman just said. What'd she say?
America could be like without that kind of discrimination as we begin to repair the legacy of that discrimination.
To repair. The whole point of reparations is to repair a group of people that were harmed over centuries of time. You know what I'm saying? Into the present time. It's to repair black folk. So any white people that would stand against that would say that they are standing against a people living. You're standing against, that's like going up to a person that's in the hospital and that's sick. And the doctor is going to come in and give them some medicine, and you take their wheelchair and you wheel them out of the hospital and you keep them from having the medicine that they need to be healed. So not only will black people be healed in the process of paying reparations, America will change. That's what white people are threatened and frightened about. The rebuilding of black people, the repairing of the breach that's in black folks in this country.
I think reparations ask us to imagine what America could be like without that kind of discrimination as we begin to repair the legacy of that discrimination. Like, what could America look like?
I'll tell you right off the top, it'll be better than what it is. It'll be better than what it is right now. But white Americans always want to use black people as a proxy. Always, you know what I'm saying? That underclass that they can always talk about, that they can always look at as a measure of accomplishment. What do you mean, brother Jehoshaphat? The black people at the bottom, we'll always be at the top. That's what I mean. You know what I'm saying? At least I'm not at the bottom like the black people are. You know what I'm saying? A measure of success. It's sad. It is sad.
African American, you want money?
You ever heard of it?
Hey,
My bad.
African American?
Why should not America do something to repair the damage that has been done to black people for over 400 years of oppression?
By giving everyone money?
Not money. A fool and his money will soon part. If we gave our people with their mentality today $20,000, $40,000, $100,000, it would go right back out of our community tomorrow. But if we are allowed land and money, a way to become economically self-sufficient, to do for ourselves, to build homes, to build factories, then we would say America is beginning to repair the damage.
Only.
And you want reparations?
Only, you know what I'm saying? Only.
You know that Germany is paying reparations to the Jews for the Holocaust that the Germans put on the Jews? Did you know that? Germans are being taxed to pay for what was done to the Jews in 1941. West Germany has paid. They started with $852 million in reparations to Holocaust survivors. Look at the numbers. They say 6 million Jews suffered under the Holocaust, right? Over a, 4 or 5 year period.
Only.
Let's add it.
Only, you know what I'm saying? Only that war. Look, here you go again. They talk about slavery has been done all over the world, this and that. Did the Germans make the Jewish people slaves? No, they didn't. They slaughtered them. That's what they were doing to them, putting them in them damn camps and stuff like that. So when people like Thomas Sowell and all these other people sit up there and say everybody's been in slavery, no, they killed the people. Look at what the Germans was doing to the Jewish people. Did it look like they were enslaving them? No, it didn't. It looked like they were rounding them up and executing those people. That was done through all of history. So when they sit up there and say, oh, well, you know, everybody's been enslaved, everybody done had this. No, it has not. No, it has not been done before. You're just fabricating history. That's what you're doing.
It up. How many did we lose in the transatlantic slave trade? How many were lost from West Africa to the Caribbean and on the shores of America? Historians say 30, 40, 60, as much as 100 million lives were
Didn't even make it here.
lost.
Those are people that just couldn't even make it here. You know what I'm saying? They was round up and killed and slaughtered in the process. That's why when we sit up here and we talk about our past and we look at it as a crime against humanity, because look at all that human loss. Look at all them lives that was lost. And that was before all the bloodshed even happened. You know what I'm saying? So it was like two wars that we were facing. We was facing two Holocausts just to get here. The Holocaust on all the people that we lost just to get here. And then the Holocaust that we went over in this country.
In the Middle Passage, how many more have died on this land, on the plantation? So if a small little nation like Germany could pay reparations for 6 million Jews in a Holocaust that they have been paying every year. Did you hear what I said?
Since that day.
Every year, Germany sends money to Israel and sends money to Holocaust survivors around the world. In 2024, they paid out $1.4 billion for 72 years. Germany has sent hundreds of millions of dollars to Israel. And
We have never seen America investing into our people like that. Never. And especially paying for the crime that America did to our people. We have never seen any. In fact, we've been exploited in this country and we've been excluded. We've been highly exploited in this country and excluded out of any government assistance to help us like that. And I don't want to hear the sorry people coming in here talking about food stamps and welfare, and that not all black people are on that stuff like that. We go to work like everybody else and pay all our bills. And last time I checked, it's more of y'all than it is of us. So naturally, it'd be more of y'all on them government programs. So cut them if you want to. You only gonna hurt your own people.
the Holocaust survivors. Look at us, man. Something is wrong.
America don't want to get right. You know what I'm saying? America don't want to be right. America doesn't want to have to pay. But it will
Gonna
pay.
go a little further and we'll shut it down.
Go on, brother. Take it all the way.
Jews take pride in their identity. A people cannot secure their freedom in the identity of somebody else. That's why Elijah Muhammad said, you have to take the name of the slave master off. Because as long as you are in the slave master's name, you're still representing yourself as being or belonging to him, since it was the slave master that gave you his name. Wilson, Washington, Johnson, right? Jefferson.
And they say they don't know who the money should go to. Though that's where the money should go to. All these people that don't have their names, they don't know where they come from. They don't know who their great grandparents are. They don't know how the hell they got here. You know what I'm saying? They don't know, you know what I'm saying? And they took on the name of a master. So unless you got somebody else's last name, you shouldn't be paid no reparations. If you have the last name of somebody that was imposed on you, you should be paid reparations.
The Emancipation Proclamation was written into law by Abraham Lincoln, the savior of black people. Everything was good.
Let's go back. I messed up.
ever a slave, you don't deserve reparations for slavery.
I love how white people think that just because the Emancipation Proclamation was written into law by Abraham Lincoln, the savior of black people, everything was good and rosy from then on in. But then they forget about the Jim Crow laws that they put in place to incriminate black people because the 13th Amendment says that slavery is illegal unless you commit a crime. But then they forget about all the black towns and black cities that they bombed and destroyed.
Oh, let me stop them. You know what I'm saying? Because they had those vagrancy laws. It was, if you were black in this country and you lived back then, if you did not have a home, they would arrest you. Back then, if you didn't have a job, they arrested you. You know what I'm saying? These vagrancy laws, you know what I'm saying, that they had for our people. You know what I'm saying? They could call them, I can't even say trespass or anything like that, because black folk would just be outside. We couldn't get no job. And then they would come arrest us and turn us right back into a slave. Flip it. If you did not have a home, a place to go to, they would arrest you, put you in jail, and just make you a slave all over again. And these people think that they don't have to pay.
Destroyed and killed all the motherfucking people because, well, they accused black men of fucking their white women. But then they forget about all the safe spaces that white people built for segregation to prevent black people from going to certain places and doing fucking certain things because white people didn't want to fucking there. But then they forget about all the drugs that they put in the black communities and destroyed their families from their homes and did mass incarceration. But then they forget about all the colleges like Yale, Stanford, and Harvard to prevent black people from getting a good college degree to get a fucking good job. So there's the fucking dilemma to pull yourself up from the fucking bootstrap from there. But then they forget about all the banks that denied them from bank loans to get good houses and good shit for their businesses and everything like that. But then they forget about every other motherfucking racist thing that they fucking did to black people in this goddamn fucking country. So pay them the motherfucking reparations because every black person in this fucking country has been fucking through it, and this country owes them every motherfucking thing because they built this motherfucking country.
You heard what he said? He said it really doesn't matter as a black person what time. For you white Caucasians that don't understand your own people, let me break down what he is saying. It doesn't matter what time that you lived here in America as a black person, you are oppressed from the past all the way into the present. So I don't know why y'all lie to yourselves. Y'all sit up there and y'all be like, oh, it's not this, it's not that, it's not that. But all of the education is all around you. Y'all fear standing on the same ground that we stand on as equal. You fear that as a white person. I know you do. You feel it inside of your heart. You feel scared over that. You know what I'm saying? You feel scared of, what do you mean? Equal opportunity for everybody in America is going to change. America has to change. It has to. It can't keep on going through these same cycles. If black people got to be at the bottom, then everybody got to be at the bottom. It can't keep on going. It can't keep on going on further. We're going to see what happens.
Reparations for police torture.
City Council voted today to pay $5.5 million to victims of police torture.
Earlier this month, Chicago City Council approved a $5.5 million reparations fund for victims of police torture. More than 200 people, most of them African American, were tortured under the reign of Chicago.
So it really doesn't matter. That's why I'm using all these clips to show you white people that ain't nothing changed in this country. There's nothing changed when it comes to black people and what we have been in suffering in this country for so long now. Ain't nothing changed. You know what I'm saying? Ain't nothing really changed for us at all. You say, well, you can go into this store. You can go into this. It's still things called a sundown town. It's still places that I would have to go and bring protection. I've been out in Chicago for 7 years now. And in some places that were white people at, I would have to protect myself to go over there because they're not going to say this is a sundown town. No, when I go over there, it's just going to be a gang of white people that's going to try to harm me because I'm black. It doesn't matter. I'm not a criminal. I'm not doing nothing. I'm not stealing nothing. I'm not robbing nobody. I'm just minding my own business. But as the person Jehoshaphat Israel, I'm telling you, racism and all of that stuff is very prevalent in this world. I'm in a new place now. And it's the same racism that was over in California. I could do the same thing in California. I could go to a white part of town. I could be minding my own business, and that could cost me my life. Same thing over here in Chicago, Illinois. I could go to some places by myself, and I better be prepared to go to war. It doesn't matter. that I didn't come over there to harm nobody. I just wanted to get some Dunkin' Donuts. I just wanted to buy some shoes. I just wanted to get another hat on the other side of town. And all the white people said, hell nah, we hate y'all for no apparent reason.
Police Commander John Burge from 1972 to 91.
You can apologize to me 1,000,000 times. That's not going to pay my rent. That's not going to pay for no health care. That's not going to pay for the...
Thank you, brother, for coming up here today. I just want to say that, I don't want no more task force sitting up here taking all this money up, trying to investigate on what happened to black people. We've been telling you for 160 years what happened to black people. It's time to pay now. You know what I'm saying? I'm tired of all these damn task force. Oh, we got to look at the symptoms and we got to see what's going on. Nah, we've been telling you. It's been too many damn commissions all over the world investigating this matter. You know what was done. Now it's time to pay.
28 years that I lost with my child.